Hi everyone, welcome to another section of our AI Spotlight show. Today we are Microsoft AI Tour in Moscone Center, San Francisco. And today we are at the Microsoft booth, and we have one of the Microsoft representatives that will be telling us some of the AI services offered by Microsoft. And her name is Savita. Hi Savita, welcome
Hi.
to the AI Spotlight show. Do you want to tell us about the Azure AI Foundry?
Sure, yeah. So Azure AI Foundry is our one-stop shop. It's a comprehensive suite of all AI services.
Mhm.
Basically, if you want to spin Azure Cognitive Service, or you want to deal with AI search, or if you have Open AI Service and you want to play with a model catalog, explore the models, or if you want to create AI agents,
Okay.
everything under one roof. Azure AI Foundry basically is your place to go, basically to spin all the services. Then you have chat playgrounds, you have
Mhm.
agents playground, and once you are happy with satisfied basically trying the playgrounds, then you have a SDK available with
Okay.
choice of your language: Python, C Sharp, .NET, Java, all those, and then you can leverage that SDK with your favorite tools as well, the developer tools, which is VS Code, GitHub Copilot,
Mhm.
and you can extend your code and write any logic you want with one Azure AI Foundry endpoint, and leverage any services which you spin under that, and leverage any other model from your model catalog, and create your innovative AI applications.
Yeah, I want to ask some quick follow-up question. I want to see if I have a better context of what you were explaining. Do you mean Azure AI Foundry? Is it more like a marketplace where you can select all your AI
Yes, it
solutions?
is like a Microsoft a marketplace. Basically, is it like it's like a micro marketplace where you
Okay.
have all the services from Azure, from all the and all the models, from the foundation levels to open source models,
Okay.
industry models, even from Hugging Face and Meta and all that. So
Okay.
all those, any new model comes in the market, Microsoft tries to put it in the same model catalog so that
Okay.
you can have the same model flexibility from in the Azure AI Foundry, and you
Okay.
can create your AI applications on Microsoft, and Microsoft runs on trust
Okay.
basically. So every service is there. Basically, your data is your data.
Okay.
You can leverage all the security services and all the trust, basically trust level, and all the security endpoints. Everything is under basically one roof and secure, basically.
Okay. Now, what you're trying to say that under Azure AI Foundry, an organization can find all the technology that will be relevant in the AI life cycle.
Yes.
That means if you need a technology for cleaning your data, for storing your data, for ensuring that your data is the right format, applying feature engineering for your model selection, for your model training, your deployment, your monitoring, everything we can find in Azure AI
Yes,
Foundry.
yes, you're
Wow,
correct. Yes.
that is really amazing. Okay, can you tell us, maybe, I know you don't have a luxury of time, but can you tell us some of the AI services or AI technology, that we have in Azure AI Foundry
Sure.
that you can
So we
provide with
have
better
Azure
context? Yeah.
OpenAI.
Okay.
Let me just bring the slide back, which is this slide. Okay. If you look at this slide, so that one is Azure Copilot, like the
Okay.
Microsoft's AI ecosystem.
Okay.
In the AI Foundry, we have all the different models available, as you can see. And the services, the question, back to your question, we have
Exactly.
AI search, we have text AI, document AI, vision AI, language,
Okay.
speech, video, and all the kind of a different
Wow.
observability tools we have available,
Yes.
like a groundness detection, content safety, and prompt flow. And as you can see, the model. So all those things are available within AI Foundry. And then we have an Azure machine learning space where you
Okay.
can prepare all the
Okay.
data, label the
Data
data,
labeling.
and then auto ML and experiments and training and predictive analysis. Some of those things you can do under Azure machine learning
Wow, that is
services.
amazing. There's one more thing I'm looking for. Where is the tool for where you incorporate like your AI ethics, your AI governance? Is it part of the Azure
Responsible AI.
observability responsible AI?
Yes,
Yeah.
so it's by default integrated in there. but then you can follow certain documentation for that. I don't
Okay.
have a lot of information on that.
Okay, on that aspect.
So please don't
Okay.
cover that.
Okay, that is fine. Um, which of the AI technology that we have from this ecosystem, maybe like two or three that you'll be able to talk about, like relating it with a particular use case? Maybe a
Use cases
customer.
I would call
Okay.
like a document is
AI.
a service. Basically, every organization deal with documentation,
Okay.
documents, lots of documents. So a very great application about AI that you want to extract the information from the documents,
Okay.
or you want to find the relevant information in your documents once the extraction is done. So I can give
Okay.
an example of a maybe DMV services, right?
Okay.
They get lots of renewals and vehicle registration and all that. So they
Mm-hmm.
want all the paper document trail is going on. So they
Okay.
can extract all the information from like who is the registrant and the car number and the license plate number and the owner number and all those details, and
Okay.
then put it into the system. But then we have all that information like a 50,000 records every day they get, or 70,000 records every day they get, or if you're talking about any other documentation, maybe legal documents, so maybe
Okay.
1,000 documents you have, and someone needs to find the information. Then
Okay.
you can build your own co-pilot to
Okay.
chat with the documents, basically that certain repository, basically.
I
Oh,
see.
how many people filed for renewal? Oh, how many people renewal is completed, right?
Wow.
Or how many people miss their payment?
And you can also use it to interact with a specific document. Let
Yes.
us assume you mentioned the DMV. Let us assume I'm a DMV representative,
Yeah.
and I want to process a recipient DMV document, and I was like, when I want to ask information regarding the expiration date when this individual DMV document will expire, then I can interact with it, and it will be able to give me the information regarding the expiration date.
Yes, it's like a search on your tips, chat with your data. So
Okay.
right now we have a co-pilot, we can
Okay.
chat, right? But
Okay.
it's all public data we are talking about. But what if I have my own data, whether it's in SQL Server or
Okay.
I have tons of documents, but I want to chat with, I want to find information. I
Okay.
cannot go to those 1,000 documents every day if I have a
Yes.
repetitive question. Then in that case, I can build my custom co-pilot. So I can leverage two services here. One is Document AI to
Okay.
leverage to extract the information from that document,
Okay.
because it is in a structured format.
Yeah.
Like first name here, last name here, the case number, the vehicle number, right?
Okay.
And then I extract the information and put it into some sort of a SQL table or any
Okay.
table, basically.
Okay.
And then I created a co-pilot to chat with that data as well.
Okay. Wow. That means it can also help you in data structuring,
Yeah.
like putting the data in the right format. In
Yes,
case you
that
want.
is that is based on the code. This goal here is to extract the information,
Yeah.
and then you write your own logic to put it into your choice of data
Into your
source.
choice.
You wanna write it, put it in a SQL, or you wanna put
Okay.
it in uh, a SharePoint, or you wanna put it in some sort of other table or JSON structure or CSV. It's up to you. But
Okay.
then the second step is now you have enormous amount of data. Then what you
Yes.
do? The second AI service you're talking about, which is your open AI service. Now you want to chat with that data, retrieve meaningful information out of that enormous amount of data you collected.
Okay. Okay. Just a quick technical question, because I have some idea about intelligent document processing.
Yes, that
Utilizing
is the
AI.
one we are talking about.
Okay, great.
Yes.
And that means it use some kind of OCR, optical
That is
character
OCR. That's
recognition.
the OCR I was talking about,
Okay,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
That
Like
makes
a
sense.
passport information
Yeah.
or a DMV form or a traffic card. So that's specific structured information you have and you want to extract it. So
Even
that
in the healthcare industry, a lot of
yeah,
times, yeah,
medical
that's it.
bills, everything, but
Yeah.
all the structured information which is not in a tabular format or something like that, not a paragraph related information I'm talking about. So that is intelligent document processing, which is your OCR. I'm
Okay,
talking.
that makes sense. Then, which other technology would you like to
Like
talk
all
about?
those things, like a language here, which is a translation. Like
Okay,
if you have information in one language and then you want to translate it to other language.
like for your customer support.
Customer support, like
Yeah.
maybe hotel industry, then we have tourists from all over the places, and then maybe hotel industry is based out of United States, they only speak English and Spanish, but the customer is coming from another country, they don't speak English and Spanish, then you can plug in translation AI there, and
And
then
sorry, a quick question. In terms of the translation, does it enable both text and voice, or what
that
format?
is both. Yes, both
Oh,
are available. So
Great tester.
speech AI is available within that, and text AI also available in terms of translation. So if you get a text and you want to convert it to Spanish
Okay.
text, you can do that. And if you get a text and you want to convert it to Spanish text or audio, both, you can do both as well.
Does it work with speech AI?
Yes.
Oh,
No, no.
okay.
So you have to combine language and speech both in that case.
Okay,
So you can do
you
combination.
have to use you can use the two
Combination.
together.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit about video AI?
So video is again, you deal with video files and you
Okay.
want to extract information from video type of the data basically. So
Okay.
if you have like a lot of public hearings or traffic record
Mm-hmm.
cameras are everywhere like CCTV cameras.
Yeah.
So if you want to extract the information at the end of the day, you will not go to the 24 hours video long file. You will feed it to video AI and it will get your all
Oh,
summary out
is
of that.
this video AI? Does it work exactly like the document AI that
It's
has
like a
OCR
different
to
kind of a
extract?
data source you're talking about,
Okay.
different kind of a input you're talking about.
Okay.
There is a documents you're talking
And
about,
this one
and
is
the speech
video.
is the audio file, text to speech, or
No, I'm
speech to
looking at the
text.
video
Oh yeah,
AI.
so in the
Since
video
you
you're
say you can
formatting
use
the
it to
video file.
extract some specific information.
Yes, video information basically. Video file you're feeding to it and then getting the information out in a plain text.
In a plain
And the
text.
tags as well, or maybe a
Is it also powered by OCR?
there are mixed combination, of course,
Yeah,
behind the scene. A lot of
yeah.
engineering is going on that, but yeah.
Okay, that is amazing. Yeah, do you want to tell us, some of the AI services offered by Microsoft?
Well, I was going to talk a little bit about the GitHub Models, which is a playground for testing and evaluating different AI models for your AI application.
Wow.
So within the marketplace here on github.com, if you go to github.com/models, that'll bring you here. And you're able to come in and learn about different kinds of models from different publishers. So
Okay.
you might be interested in Meta's models or DeepSeek. You can ask for something that's specific to chats. You can look for something that's multilingual, multi-modal, modal rather, or conversational, and look for things that are, by popularity or token limit. And this is just a good place to come in and learn about those. And then when
Yeah.
you're
And this is just one of the products,
Oh,
which
this is
is
one of
GitHub
this is
model.
one of many. I mean,
Okay.
GitHub also has a number of AI enabled surfaces like GitHub
Okay.
Copilot for using AI to help you build your applications.
Okay.
But this is more about the AI that you're going to use from your application. So you're
Yeah.
going to build your app on top of AI. You can
Okay.
use AI to build your app that talks to AI as well.
Great.
But for evaluating the different models, this is for where you can come to learn about them. And then
Okay.
we have, let me go back here. So within here, it says a catalog and a playground of AI models to help you build AI features and products.
Okay.
So we can come in and let's pick a couple of models. And let's say we want to look at maybe Llama 3.2, 3.3, 70B instruct.
Yeah, before you start with the demo,
Sure.
can you tell us what differentiate? Like now we have Model Llama 3.3,
Right.
Model Llama 3.1. Can you talk about that variability? Like, you understand? Can our audience have a better context of why 3.3 is varies from 3.8? One has 70B. Yeah, can you explain all of those technical information?
So I'm probably not the person to go very deep on that, but at a surface level,
Yeah.
you obviously know what Meta Llama is, and those are the
Okay.
publishers and the model type, and then the version here, and then the next parameter that you see is the a number and B, and typically what that refers to is the number of parameters within the model. So this 8B refers to an 8 billion parameter model. 405B is a 405 billion parameter model. So the
Okay.
more parameters within the model, the more different ways it analyzes the pieces of data that it has, the different ways it can put things together
Now,
to
can we
answer your
say
questions.
the model with higher parameter performs better than the one with the lower parameter?
No, actually,
Okay.
it's a little bit of the opposite. So
Okay.
a model with the higher parameters, you're probably going to get, generally speaking, you may get more high quality results out of it.
Okay.
But if you were to compare the performance or the speed
Yeah.
of a 8 billion parameter model versus a 405 billion parameter model, you're generally going to see the smaller parameter model will
Perform
operate
better
faster
in terms of speed.
and cheaper.
Oh, okay.
And so this is why this sandbox is really great, because if you want to come out and build an AI enabled application,
Yeah.
you maybe could get all the answers that you want from a 405 billion parameter model,
Okay.
but it's going to cost
You more
quite a bit more to operate. And so
because of the GPU it will consume.
the processing and
Yeah.
everything that goes into
Yeah.
that. So what something like GitHub Models is great for is you want to get the model down to the most effective from a performance and cost basis
Okay.
for what you're trying to build. So if the application that you're building,
Mm-hmm.
if you're able to construct your system prompts and your inputs and tune the model to where you can get good results from, instead of 405 or 70 billion, if you can get good results from an 11 billion or an 8 billion parameter model,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be cheaper to run, it's going to be faster, and it's going to, those are good things.
Okay, that makes sense. Then now, what the ones with the higher parameter? Well, can you talk about one unique advantage or pro of using a model with higher parameter?
Typically, it's going to have more capabilities and more, and this is where I get a little bit out of my depth here, but
Okay.
this is where it has different ways to analyze the data that it has inside of it. So
Okay.
right now, it's looking at if you have a token or a word, it's
Yeah.
going to place that inside of an invisible multi-dimensional matrix of different parameters for how much is this like, let's use general terms. If
Yeah.
you were talking about scenery, is this more like a beach or a mountain? Is this more like grass or rocks? Is this red or blue or green? And so it's going to plant these different parameters within, it's going to analyze the different terms and such within those different contexts.
I see.
That's a very superficial general way of explaining it, so
Okay.
I'm probably not entirely correct, but that's my understanding of it because I apply this to building applications.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move on.
I'm not a data scientist. But now if I want to come out and build an application that's going to utilize some of these models, we talked about comparing 70B to maybe 11B or something like that before.
Yeah.
So what we can do in GitHub Models is I can put these two models side by side, I can get some information about them.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm up here and I'm picking that Llama 3370B instruct, I'm going to come over here, click this compare button, and now I can compare it maybe to a 17B or an 8B. Let's pick an 8B model to compare it to. And there's a couple of, we can type in a question here and it'll give it to both models. There's a couple of different examples here that I can just single click. And so I'm asking it to explain the concept of time dilation.
And how many models can you compare at once?
At once, just the two, I believe. But
Okay.
notice right away, we start getting output right away
Okay.
from our 8 billion model versus the 70 billion model is still thinking. I don't know if that's a hang up or if it's really that slow, but we'll see again. So you can run multiple tests here and decide not just about how fast is this, you can look at what the input token cost was, what the output token cost was. You can look at the response time here in this.
Okay.
Let's try this again. Live demos. I think this is a little hung up here, so we'll go ahead and run this one again. And let's click. We've got our 8B and our 70B. So we're seeing a little bit better results here now. So this one here, about 10.5 seconds, 592 output tokens, similar, 11 seconds. But this is going to be a much cheaper model to run. And so what we could do is come through, look at the output of this, and of course you would give it questions that are more relevant to the application that you're wanting to build. But if you're getting equally or relatively equal output for your application, and you can do that on an 8B model, it's going to cost less to run potentially. So we can come in here. You can also adjust in the parameters. You can adjust the temperature, that just controls the randomness of the response. There's other parameters here in the model that, and an explanation of what that does. But if we come into here and we say, okay, I'm happy with this, let's use this model. What I can do now is I can ask, I can tell GitHub I want to use this model, and it's going to give me some examples about how to get started with this model.
Okay.
Now, if you're building an app in Python, C#, JavaScript, or Java, right here, we will give you example application code that you can use to go out and build that.
Okay.
Or you could just make plain old REST calls. So if we were going to do this in, let's say, Python, now, in addition to your application code, you need the model to be hosted somewhere.
Yeah.
There's an option with GitHub for free where you can get a developer key and plug this in. It's going to be rate limited, but it's probably fine for kicking the tires within your application to see if you can make that model do what you like. We also have a one-click deployment to Azure AI where you can host it there and not be as impacted by the rate limits. Scrolling down, it gives you some information about how to set that up, and it gives you some sample code. You can also, if some of the models will have different SDK options.
If I want to deploy outside the Microsoft Azure platform, how does that work?
Well, I'm not going to be an expert on anything outside of the Microsoft AI platform,
Okay.
but what I can tell you is something like Meta Llama has multiple options for hosting. You could host it locally on Ollama. You could host do stuff with other hosting providers for that. This code should generally work. Most of these models are going to rely on having an endpoint and some kind of token.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, we're using the Azure AI Inference SDK. You could use a different SDK,
Okay.
like the Mistral has an SDK option in here,
Mhm.
and the code should still work by applying the endpoint to whether that's your Ollama or another provider's endpoint and making sure your token's the same. The code should be relatively consistent throughout. So here's a basic example of what an input and an output looks like on that. And we come down and we give a couple other examples here. So this is just intended to be a fast way to get quick comparisons between different models and to deploy them to a sandbox and give you some sample code to get up and running quickly.
That really makes sense. Now, I'm thinking, I overheard you telling someone that if they want to deploy it maybe outside Microsoft Azure, that they can use Kubernetes or Docker. What were you referring to?
Well, that wasn't for AI workloads. That was for just general ways to containerize your application.
Yeah.
So you can take a web app. So you build this in, excuse me, let's say you build your web app and you want to host it. Now you can take, this is built in Python. You can take this and deploy it to Azure App Service. And you could run it locally on Flask or something like that. So there's different ways to do that. Most of the service providers out there that host web applications can support Python.
Okay.
But if you want everything to run very consistently the same in every single environment, the way to do that is to build it into a Docker container or an OCI specification container. So you containerize that application, and then it should run generally the same everywhere, because within that container is an operating system, all of the dependencies, the server runtime, and the code. And so then you can host that in Docker on your desktop. You could host that in Azure Kubernetes Service or Azure Container Instances. You could host that in Google or Amazon or one of those other providers that could run Kubernetes or Docker containers.
No, that makes sense. And can you talk about maybe about two use cases, tied to a particular industry that has leveraged the GitHub model?
This is a little earlier in the dev stage than I tend to work with. This is a capability that we put out there. What I will often see is after the model evaluation has taken place and they start to build that, my customers will deploy this to Azure AI Foundry, and that's where they'll start to build applications. And then I can help coming in with some of the development tool suite on top of that. So we have something like GitHub Copilot that can run out here, and you can use this for you can basically chat with the AI agent and have it generate a lot of code for you. There's good practices for getting consistent results from any AI coding tool. But
is there okay? Once the AI agent generate the code, is there like a feature to validate?
Well, there's standard practices for validation. So
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
so
at.
generative AI coding is there. It's not a replacement for a mature CI process with
Okay.
human reviewers, with static analysis for security checks,
Mm-hmm.
um, CI/CD, all the usual automation that we put into enterprise grade software. So the AI coding tool can help you generate a lot of code quickly, but it's also that makes it, I think, extra important to ensure that we have the right testing and checks in there, both automated testing and
Like an human
human
oversight
testing
to go through
and
the
human
code.
testing. Yeah.
Okay.
So even though like GitHub Copilot also has a code review feature where
Okay.
you can push it up to your pull request or review it in your IDE, you can ask Copilot to review the code.
Oh, that is amazing.
It's not a replace. That, in my opinion, is for getting that fast feedback for a developer to kind of fix the low level stuff in their code. It'll
Most
catch.
especially when you have like a 20,000 code.
Yeah, but it's really so that developers can get faster, early feedback on their code,
Okay.
and the human reviewers don't have to catch as much of the small stuff.
Okay.
They can focus on more structural or strategic issues later on.
Wow, amazing. I believe these are very insightful information. And my question is, has this product been launched or is it still
Everything you see here is live. So
okay?
the GitHub models is out. The GitHub Copilot features are some of the features are still preview, some of the features are out. But I think everything I talked about here today is generally available and not only a preview.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I believe the information that was presented by Chris were very insightful information. Most especially, you could actually use the GitHub model in the area of your model selection, model evaluation. When it comes to selecting model, it's actually a critical decision in terms of cost effectiveness and also in terms of performance. And you can see that during the presentation, it shows that you can also kind of determine the performance of the model by adjusting some of the parameters. You can see like the temperature, and with that you can make a final decision of which model will work, will align with your business use case, and also that will perform well on the data itself that you want to also train. And I don't know if this could be a replacement for model validation, because I know one of the essence of model validation is also to know if the model will also perform very well. But I think using the GitHub model will be a standard practice for your planning phase, where you can define your methodology by stating that this is the particular model that will work best or that aligns with our business use case. And we can also have like a cost estimation of how much will be involved in terms of building a particular AI solution. And I think these are useful information, and I encourage you guys to go ahead and explore this tool and let us know what you think. If you have any feedback, we can circle back to the Microsoft AI team, and maybe they might have some useful information. And I believe your feedback will be helpful for the product team as well to also help improve the technology. Chris, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of AI Spotlight at the Microsoft AI Tour in Moscow Center, San Francisco. Do have a great day, and stay tuned for the next episode.